Welcome to day 2. Yesterday, yesterday I talked about the Java programming language, which is this phase 0 programming foundation. And objective of this is become compatible with programming fundamentals of Java. Okay. So if you just watching this video from scratch, I am making a video series where I am following an article which is from this coding chef. He wrote a article on the roadmap of Android development. So I am following this. Yesterday I practiced this phase 0 programming foundation of Java, core Java, and object-oriented programming. This kind of thing: class, encapsulation, inheritance, polymer vision, abstraction, function, exception handling, collection, multi-threading, etc. Okay. And also I have uploaded a video where I completed a code lab in Jetpack Compose, where I have shown how to manage state in Jetpack Compose, state hosting, and how Jetpack Compose is better than XML, and also gone through a code lab. So in this video today, what I am planning to do is to write some Kotlin code, basics Kotlin, fundamentals of Kotlin, Kotlin for Android development. So duration of this is 15 days, but I'll try to complete it in this session. It will take maybe 2 hours, but who cares, right? First of all, and as always, as I did in the previous video, I will use ChatGPT for clearing the concept and all. Okay. So objective is to write modern, concise and safe Android code. Kotlin Basics. Why Kotlin on Android? So initially we had, before Kotlin came into Android in 2017, before that we were writing Android code in Java and XML. So first question would be, why Kotlin for Android? Let me paste it here. Why Kotlin in Android than Java? Let's ask ChatGPT this question. Kotlin is preferred over Java for Android mainly because it's more concise, safer, and better integrated with modern Android tools. Here is a clear comparison: less boilerplate code, which is right. So initially, we had when we used to create a model in Java, we had to create a getter, setter, and the comparing equals, and other kind of thing. We have to use so many lines of code to perform an operation. It's repetitive. So with Kotlin came into the market, it became less. We use less boilerplate code. So Kotlin is also safer. Kotlin is also safer in that Kotlin is also safer if we talk about the null pointer case. So Kotlin forces ourselves to not to use. Eh? Kotlin forces ourselves not to use nullable value. Everything should be non-nullable, but yes, we can work around. There is a workaround. We can provide null value. We'll talk about this in a bit. Wait. Now let's understand why Kotlin over Java. First point is less boilerplate code. Kotlin lets you write the same logic with fewer lines. So in Java, we have to define the text view like this way. Find view by id, right? R.id.text view, and setting text like this. So in Kotlin with XML, we use val text view find view by id text view text view text equal to hello. So we eliminated the need of set text. So So this is just simple, but in case of data class, nullability and lambda function, higher order function, and anonymous function, that makes Kotlin more powerful over Java. So second is null safety. One is less boilerplate code, which you have seen. I'll show you how data class in Kotlin is actually so much, just a simple single line of code. I'll show you. Wait a minute. Mm, Less code means fewer bugs and faster development. Null safety major advantage. In Java, null pointer exception is very common. Yes, during the days of Java, we maximum time the reason for our app to crash is because null pointer exception. So Kotlin just eliminate this risk by design. So var name string is null. So if we want to give a null value, we have to put this question mark symbol. So you must explicitly handle null, so crashes are reduced. Exactly. So null safety is a major add-on in Kotlin. Now Kotlin has a coroutine, easy asynchronous programming. Kotlin provides coroutine which makes the background task easier than Java thread and callback. In Java there is lots of callback, async task and other thing also there. But Kotlin coroutine works really efficient in coroutine was very efficient in Kotlin. So lifecycle scope, launch, build the data, repository to get data. The repository is it's a design pattern in Android. I'll not I'll go in the further videos. So coroutines is also a major add-on in Kotlin to write asynchronous code. Asynchronous code means that runs on the background thread parallel and without blocking the main thread. So fully supported by fourth point is fully supported by Google. Since Google officially recommends Kotlin, so it actually recommended in a Google I/O. Most Android libraries are 2019 or 2017. I guess 2019. Yes, it's in Google I/O 2019. Kotlin officially. Google officially recommends Kotlin. Most of the new Android libraries are Kotlin first. Jetpack Compose, Coroutine, Flow. Flow is like live data. So we'll talk about this later. In not today, but in some other video. Many example in documentation code. Extension function. You can add function next to existing classes without modifying them. So fun view.show this visibility dot view dot visible. So we can define the extension function in Kotlin. So very useful in under development. Says what I was talking about this data classes. Model classes are very much shorter. So in Java you have to use getters, setter, equals, hash code, toString, but we get all of those things in just a simple line of code. Data class user name string, but we have to use this keyword to use to get the getters and setters. You have to put val keyword. So Kotlin Kotlin generates everything automatically. So with this single line of code, Kotlin generates getter, setter, SQL, hash code, and toString without even explicitly creating those, which we had to do in Java. But in Kotlin, the less boilerplate code and less lines of code we have to create. Okay. Now interoperability with Java. You can use Java libraries in Kotlin, Kotlin code inside Java. So migration is very easy. So interoperability means we can use Kotlin code inside Java. We can call those. So no issue on that. Smart cast and type inference. Kotlin automatically detects type val name on image. No need to write string. So I don't think this is an advantage. It's also doable in Java. So when Java is still used, where Java is still used? Java is still used in maintaining old app, larger legacy code base, some backend services, but most new apps in Android are in Kotlin. So in the previous uh, Java Basics video, You have seen that in an official documentation of Android, there are many modern applications that are in Java. For example, Lyft, Uber, Instacart, and Disney Hotstar, and all the other apps are in Kotlin and Jetpack Compose. So most of the new Android apps that are coming onto the market, or existing app are going to existing app developer migrating their code base to Kotlin, and far latest is Jetpack Compose. So simple summary: developers prefer Kotlin because less code, safer, easy async programming, official recommendation, modern Android tools built for it. Modern Android tools like Jetpack Compose and others. So simple summary is developer prefer Kotlin because less code. You have seen. Uh, just an example is data class. You have seen in a single line code can do more. So safer, null safety. We get less null pointer expression. We can minimize null pointer exception. Easier async programming using Kotlin and Flow. Officially recommended. So in the Google officially recommends Kotlin, and all the latest things that are coming into the Android world are libraries and other tutorial libraries, documentation, and all the other large language model. All are being trained using Kotlin. So modern Android tools built for it. So if you want to become a strong Android developer, you suggest to the roadmap use Kotlin Basics, Kotlin Flow, JP Compose, and BBM. So we have just seen why Kotlin for Android. Now let's go to Kotlin syntax and data types. Here is a clear and beginner-friendly overview of Kotlin syntax and data type, especially useful for Android development. Kotlin syntax and data types. Basic Kotlin program is fun, main, hello Kotlin. Fun is function keyword, main is entry point, println, prints output. So Kotlin syntax. Variable in Kotlin, val versus bar. So val is read only. Read only means it is immutable. We can't change it. Once it's declared, we can't rewrite this. It's val. So val is read only, cannot be changed later. Var is mutable, so we can change it later and we don't get any error bar. So rule use. So rule is simple. We should use val by default, and where there is a absolute need for creating mutable variable, we use var when only needed. Type inference. Kotlin automatically detects the type. Val city got is a string. Val number 10 is a int. We don't need to explicitly define. You can specify explicitly val marks int, but we can delete this. Okay, we can just delete this. So let me open my IntelliJ IDEA. IntelliJ IDEA and write a opens a blank Kotlin project to show you some example. Let's create a new project. Kotlin practice. Let's name it Kotlin practice. Give it a, oh sorry, it was selected in Java, so to Kotlin practice, add a simple code, use compact project structure. Kotlin, what is it? Add compact project structure, a concise project structure with less folder nesting. Okay, we don't need to create great because we're not pushing it to get. We are not using version control, so let's just keep it unchecked. So So there is already some boilerplate code that is generated automatically. Let's delete those boilerplate. And let's just delete completely. So hello Kotlin, you can see in the console. Let's just see the example of type inference. So city, Guwahati, we can also write this as string. Okay, but this is not needed. Explicitly given type is redundant, so we can remove it. But you can also keep it, no issue. So that's string, that's an int. We can also there is no smaller than int in Kotlin. There is no int like this. Okay, only capitalize int. So we'll come to this point. Wait a second. So you can also specify explicitly. So Kotlin data types, integer types is type is byte, short, int, long. So if you want to get long, you have to give L at the end of uh, end of declaring variable. Okay, there's also floating point, float, double, floating point, float, double. Okay, boolean, true and false, char, single character. Okay, string, well message hello Kotlin, string template, well name and image println hello image. String template. We can use this kind of like this string template. Nullable type important. Kotlin prevents crashes. So var name string null. We can keep the null value using this question mark. So I'll show you. Null. If we just remove this, it's giving error in compile time. So null are checked in compile time, so we don't get any error in runtime. So just do this, and if we call this here you can see null, but we can force a program to crash it like this way. uh, Wait a second, it's null, right? See, we force the program to get an exception, null pointer exception. So we can also force, but it's not recommended. It is called assertion, null assertion, because when we are absolutely sure that it's not giving null, then we use, but it's risky to use this double exclamatory symbol. Okay. So it's null already, so we force it to crash. But if we don't give it, uppercase. It could get null, so that's why I use question mark. Access safely. We can access the nullable very safely using the question, so we don't get null pointer exception. Type conversion. You can convert a int too long very easily. So we can also convert to int to double to float too long. So arrays in Kotlin fail numbers. Array of 1, 2, 3, 4. The integer number is accessing the index 0, which is 1. So let's wait a second. Numbers to the top integer number 0, which is index 0. It is the value is 1. Yeah. If we give it 9, it will, let's see what it does. Index out of bound. See, array index out of bound exception, because at position 9 there is no, right? So we want to access the last element, right? Last dot size minus 1 is the last index, which is 4. Okay, so Kotlin also have collection. List is read only. Bell list of ABC. Mutable list is we can, I mean, rewrite it. For example, let's give it an example list of B and C. Okay, let's put some dummy name. We use the enhanced for loop. Give lists. Just forget it, but so list in list, I guess. Yeah, forget it here. List. So you can see we printed those three name. So if we try to add to the list, we can't. Right? There's no add. Right? And there's no we can change this. Okay? This is because this is list is immutable. But if we convert it to mutable list, I think we can add some John. Let's see now what it does. So it replaced it. It replaced it with my name. It replaced it with animation. So, but if we list dot add John, it will add item to last after Cameron. See, animation Vicky Cameron John. So this is mutable list, which is as the name suggests, it's mutable. Any type, any type. Any means you can add a any types means it's a nothing. I mean, wait a second. Intel data. It's neither. It's any type means it can take any value. So for example, I put a just integer there, so to turn it to var. See, it's rewritten to 45, which is int. So you can also do it, but it's not recommended. But it's still there in Kotlin for some use cases. Unit like void. So void. So when creating a function which is void, say hello. If a function returns nothing, if a function returns nothing, it's if a function returns nothing, means void, we can use unit. So we can just remove the unit as well. So if you want to return an int, just we can put an int there. Okay, and return is 33. It's become double 33. Answer int is return int. So see, it is giving us a hint that this function will return an integer. So println is answer. So this will print hello and then 33. Hello and then 33. So we have learned about unit. Usually omitted this unit. Okay. So quick comparison. Java int int, double, double, boolean, boolean, string, string, word, unit. So real Android example, val username string auto age int auto int 27 is premium boolean false. So these are commonly used in view model. API auto simple summary. Kotlin syntax is shorter, so if I easier to read. Most used type in Android is string int boolean data classes. If you want to become quickly, so I want to clear a doubt there, like why there is no primitive type. Let's ask it. Type in like in Java there is int primitive and wrapper int. Kotlin doesn't exposes primitive type and wrapper classes separately like Java does, but internally Kotlin still uses Java primitive when possible. Let's break it down. So primitive type in Kotlin. So in Java we write primitive type int a 10, integer b is wrapper class, right? In Kotlin we use val a int 10. There's only int capital, no separate int. So what happens internally? So Kotlin compiles to JVM bytecode. So val a int 10 becomes int a 10. So Kotlin uses primitive int internally when variable is non-nullable. So Kotlin uses primitive int when variable is non-nullable, not used in generic or collection. So Kotlin uses primitive int internally when variable is non-nullable, not used in generic or collection. Got it? JVM bytecode is doing all of those work internally. So whenever needed, the Kotlin variable uses non-nullable like this and not use this primitive like this uh, in generic or collection. So when Kotlin uses separate classes, if nullable, val a int 10. So now Kotlin must allow null, so it became Kotlin must allow null, so it becomes a integer auto. So this is an object, right? So object can be null. So because Java primitive cannot hold null, yeah, Java primitive cannot hold null. So rule to reminder, Kotlin type int, JVM representation int primitive. Kotlin type int, integer wrapper. That's a very great concept here. So whenever JVM uses this capitalized int, so it will internally decide should it be using int or int primitive or int wrapper. So if it's a nullable type, then it uses integer wrapper. So same goes with double. So that's a very interesting thing rule to remember. Example in real Android code. Val count auto int, primitive int is used internally, and the val count to int, so integer internally. So what we should do is maximum amount of time we should force our code that not to use this null, because this this wrapper type of this this wrapper integer is not memory efficient. It uses extra space and it's not fast. So whenever possible, we should make our code like this, non-nullable. Got it? So what Kotlin hires primitive bus wrapper? Kotlin designer wanted clean syntax, less confusion, null safety built in. So you don't worry about primitive bus wrapper most of the time. Important interview question. Does Kotlin a primitive type? Yes, the Kotlin doesn't have explicit primitive type in syntax. Types like in map, type like int map to Java, int map to JVM primitive when possible, and to wrapper classes when nullable or used in generics. When nullable used in generics or in collection. You've not added, but yeah. One more example in cases collection where list int in list of. Here Kotlin uses integer because Java generics cannot use primitive. Great. Kotlin syntax only int, double, etc. Internally primitive or wrapper depending on usage. Nullable types always use wrapper. So that's a very great concept. If you want to really understand Kotlin deeply as the dev, next concept change everything. Latent versus lazy. I will come to latent it. So let's understand the difference between. So you got the idea of Kotlin syntax and data types and what are the primitive, why there is no wrapper classes against each of these, I mean, data type like int, double, float, short, etc. Why Kotlin uses internally, why when Kotlin uses internally a wrapper class and when they uses a primitive, because all of the code are converted to JVM bytecode. So we learned a very important concept here. Now let's understand var, val, constant and late in it. Let's do it. Kotlin. We've seen the var and val. Let's talk about constant and late in it. Var is simple, it's mutable, and val is read only, it's immutable. We can't re-instantiate it. So also val doesn't mean immutable object always. So this kind of thing is allowed where list is mutable list. We can add to list because it's a list, right? So we can add to this mutable list. Reference cannot change, but object content can. So reference cannot be changed because it's a single reference, but object, this mutable list of content can be changed in this case of mutable. So that reference cannot be changed because it's a val. Reference, this is the reference of this, but object which is mutable list, it can be changed like added, deleted, and all the operation can be done. Rule: use val by default, use var only when needed. I have already said this. Constant is compile time constant. So constant is used for compile time constant. For example, Kotlin const val base URL API. When you define a URL or any other thing, we can use constant. So constant is used for compile time constant. Must be top level inside object or companion object. Object means singleton. A companion object is also singleton. Must be a primitive or string. Must initialize at compile time, cannot be nullable. Example in Android. So API key can be stored in constant val, and it's an object because there's only single instance can be created of constant API key. So difference between val and constant. Val is runtime value. Constant is compile time value. Can be any type, only primitive and string. Can inside any classes, only top level object. So now late init. Late init, we don't use late init in Jetpack Compose, but in the Kotlin, heavy Kotlin code, when defining some text view or the floating action button and other kind of UI element in XML, we declare it using late init. Late init means we are promising Kotlin compiler that we will initialize this element later. We don't declare it immediately. So here it says late init is used when you cannot initialize immediately but promise to initialize before use, only for var, only for non-nullable type. So for example, late init var name string. So later name equal to animation and println equal to name. For example, let me show you. So if you don't use late init, so it's an Android specific thing. It's used in Android. Wait a second. See, we have not initialized it, so it's saying uninitialized property access explanation. So we said we promised to initialize it, but we have not initialized, so that's why it's giving us exception. Let's give it a, let's declare it a name. Now it's giving, now it looks good, it's not giving any error. So if we don't use late in it and still use this, see, we are getting error. Variable name must be initialized. So to eliminate, for example, in some of the in XML, we declare a text view. So we cannot give immediate value to text view. So inside we declared before on create, we declared all the latent property like text view, etc., button, etc., before the on create. So when the application opens in the on create, then we set the views text or any other thing inside on create. So the point of using late in it is we will come we are making a promise to Kotlin compiler that we will initialize it before we access it or before we use it. So, and if we don't initialize, we get errors, we get exceptions. So late init bar binding activity main binding, because binding initialize, see, as I've said, binding is initialized in on create. So before on create, in the main activity file, after main activity extend app compile activity, after this we declare this line late init that we are promising that when using this binding keyword, binding variable, we will initialize it inside on create. So that's it. Why not nullable instead? Without late init var name auto, the var name nullable, println name dot length, with late init var name string println name dot length. So we eliminate the use of null when we use late init, because we don't need to declare null here, right? So that's a very powerful late init. Is concept very powerful. We maximum time we used inside Kotlin and XML code. So hope you understand this line is, if we don't give any value, because we don't know the initial what is the name of it initially, right? So we have to give null value, right? So if we give null value, uh, we need to create it in nullable by using this question mark. So when using nullable, we have to use this kind of question mark to get its value, right? So instead of doing this kind of headache thing, like making it nullable, we can simply declare the variable late in it and just print this length. So this it's a bit cleaner, right? So check if late in it is initialized. So check if latent it is initialized. Check if latent it is initialized. If latent it one name string println name dot length, this is cleaner. Check if latent it is initialized. If name dot is initialized, name. Let's use this snip line of code here. Let's see if we still get what reference variable is not supported. What does it mean? What is not supported? Maybe it's supported inside Android Studio. Unsupported reference variable are not supported. What the hell is this? Check if latent it is initialized. So limitation of late init. Cannot use with val primitive type int nullable. So I think it cannot be used inside this unsupported reference. It will come to this why it is showing error. So val primitive type int double nullable type quick comparison mutable var is mutable var mutable no constant mutable no late init is mutable yes it's because of this we have to use it inside var. So compile time constant no yes it's compile time late init no late init is runtime late initialization no yes nullable allowed yes var nullable allowed val nullable allowed constant nullable not allowed late init nullable is not allowed. So real and third example altogether constant base URL constant val API class main activity app compile activity late init binding activity main binding var author and into this kind of simple summary var value changes val read only constant compile time constant initialize later. Why this is giving error? So not initialized, not initialized, right? So now if we initialize it, name is animesh. name is set. So initialize, but why can't we use directly inside this? We can't use directly inside main. We have to call the reference of it. So that's why. So this error usually happens because it works with only latent property declared at a class level. So see, so this error usually happens because this name is initialized worked only with the latent var properties. Latent var properties declared at class level. Declared at a class level. Not with a local variable inside a function. Not with a local variable inside a function. Right? It's not local variable नहीं होगा फन मेन के अंदर नहीं होगा क्लास लेवल में होगा ठीक है फन चेक लेते हैं फन check okay. The name is a class property, so Kotlin allows checking initialization. Error. Local latent variable do not support is initialization check. Local latent variable do not support is initialization check. Kotlin only supports for its member properties or top level properties. Member means you have to put it inside a class. Rule for the maintainer works only for class properties, top level properties. Local variable inside function. How to fix it this? Okay. Only in the lead property. Only so there's an interview question. If asked when you can use a variable is initialized, answer only with the latent variable property declared at the class or top level. No, latent properties declared at a class or top level, not local variable. So just got to know about var, val, constant, and latent. Okay. Now let's talk about control flow statement. It's simple. Control flow statement just Kotlin is to control the execution flow of a program just like Java, but often cleaner. It's a cleaner guide is a control flow statement. Main types is if else, when, for loop, while loop, break, continue, return. So if else is simple, same as Java. I'm not putting it inside the IntelliJ idea, but you got the idea. Same as Java, but in Kotlin, if also an expression can return value for val age. If age is greater than 18, adult, else minor. If else expression, val max, if a greater than b, a, else. Be very common in syntax when. Replacement for switch. Kotlin doesn't have a switch. Basic example, val day 2, when day 2 is print Tuesday. So it's a when. Replacement for switch. It's a quite cleaner. So multiple condition when day 1 and 7, 1 or 7 print weekend, else weekday. When as expression, well, we are putting those when expression in a variable result when marks of else it assigned to this as a string. Wait a second, I'll show you. See, it's a string. It's returning string. Well, marks is 65. Fail. Okay, getting 65 is fail. Great, yeah. We should put some condition of C because getting 65 mark for student like us is very much. So here is example of for loop. Range for loop range for I in 1 to 5 print 1 to 5. I 1 to 5 1 2 3 4 5 reverse for loop. You can use a reverse like I in down to 1. It will 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. It will print. See. 5 4 3 2 1. Step loop. Step 2 2 4 6. This kind of. This is step loop. One, 3, 5, 7, 9. It is eliminating the two numbers between. Step loop. Loop through array list. Well names list of ABC for name in names. Until list of ABC while loop. Like for I while I less than equal to 5 print ln I plus plus. It's same as Java. Do while loop or do print while. Same as Java break. It's simple. Stops a loop for I equal to 0 5 5 I 1 2 3 4 5. Let's see. Will only print till 5. Print till 4 here. 1 2 3 4. Negotiate 5. It will break. 1 2 3 4. Right. So if we give continue, it will skip the 5. 1 2 3 4. Then 6. So 5 is missing because it skipped this. Return exits function. If we just simply put this, it returns nothing. Another example is logged in. Show home screen, else show login screen. So just got to know about the control flow and statement. Let's go through functions and lambda quickly. Lambda functions are really powerful. Lambdas are really powerful. As a clean explanation of function and lambdas in Kotlin, especially from Android developer perspective, function. A function is defined using the fun keyword. Function is simple, right? Function. It's a unit. It's a void. It's a turning void. Function with parameter. Fun grade parameter is simple. Calling a function is this. Function with return type. Add AB, return ABC. Let's test this inside this. See, fun add A and B. So we'll answer add A and B. 5 6 6 plus 5 is 11. So print is answer. We get the 11. function with return type we've seen. Now single line expression. Single line expression. We can use this kind of thing. I mean, without putting the return value, we can use this single line expression. Fun add a plus b. It will give the same output. 11. So Kotlin automatically infers return type to int. So we can also remove this kind of thing. It's already removed, right? So on it. But we can also give this, right? Like this way. We can remove it. It will automatically infer. Default argument. Kotlin allows default values. Fun, great, string, guest, hello, guest. Default argument. Just if we call the great, it will hello guest. It will print hello guest, and if I want to give it hello, and we should put the value of the argument. We can see the argument that we have put it in the main function. You can use the name parameter. See, your name parameter also very great. So name parameter is extensively used in Jetpack Compose. It's for understanding of us. So named argument. Oh, I've just shown you, and it's ChatGPT is also showing me this. I think ChatGPT has understood my brain, how my brain works, I guess so. Create user, let's see this. Create user. That's indent line. So in case you don't know how to indent, option plus command and then L, it will indent. Okay. So create user is age is 27 and name. So yeah, when we use the named parameter, named argument or parameter, we can just skip the order. We can change the order of it. For example, create user is first is want us to put the name, right? But we have put it in the second, and age is the second, but we put it the age in first as argument. So when using name parameter, we can specify the name of the argument and then put the order, doesn't matter. So that's the name argument. Hope you got the idea. Unit return type like void, fun show message, unit print out hello world. Usually omitted, you have seen it. Lambda in Kotlin. So lambda is an anonymous function without a name. A lambda is an anonymous function without a name. Lambda function. So lambdas are very powerful. So you can see it's taking 2 integer as an argument, right? So here you can see in the curly braces we have defined the argument a of type int, b of type int, and this kind of dash and this less than, it's a greater than symbol, and then putting our expression inside after this a plus b. So see in the hint of this hint is showing that taking 2 integer and then it will also return int. So let's just call this println sum. So if we just simply call it, we don't get anything. Wait a second. Main key lambda, this kind of thing, but it expect us to give two int value as argument. So 3 and 5, let's give it 5, 6, 7, 8 will be the answer, right? 8, see?
Dear customer, आपके लिए ऑलिव कप की qualified personal loan offer.
They want me to get the loan. Okay. So I just took some break. So if we call it sum with the two argument 2 and 3, we get the result 3 and 5, we get the result 8 as a sum. Lambda breakdown. So this is a breakdown. So parameter as a and b as parameter, we have to pass in during call arrow function and then body a and b. So lambda with no parameter. So val say hello. Lambda is an anonymous function. So this curly braces is a function. Okay? Lambda is an anonymous function. Say hello. So it's taking. See in the hint. Hint is really awesome. It's taking no argument, but it's returning void. It's returning nothing also. So print ln hello. Can we use this? Let's see. It's taking one integer, returning hello. 3. it's already painting, so that's why. Just call say hello. So see the hello in the console. So lambda with one parameter. So it represents a single parameter. It is whatever we passed here. So it's it. Square it. So if we if we say square, it is we get 5 as argument. So 5 into 5, 25. We get the answer is 25. 25, right? So square 5. So well square is taking one integer and it's also returning int, and it you can put this way also. See 25. So let's say lambda. Lambda, what is lambda? Lambda is an anonymous function without a name. This is a function without giving a name. Okay, this is function body only, and it's assigned into a simple val variable. So lambda with collection, very important. Most common real world uses val number list of for each. So we use lambdas with collection. Collection means collection of data. Want to store, add, remove, display variable, which is most important. It's a practical use cases, so that's called collection. Real life use cases in collection. So val number, let's use the for each lambda. Let's just remove it. Numbers list of integer and number of for each. It means each one of its value. It 1 2 3 4 6. But if we don't want to give it a specific, to explicitly mention a parameter, we can do this way, number, and we use number. Okay, so removing the it, but it is concise and less. It eliminates need of creating another variable explicitly. So under used everywhere in Android. Yes. So filter example, well, even number. That filter is if it's even, then it will only print the even number. Let's put it this way. Well, even number, numbers dot filter it dot auto. I don't think it will print this 2 4. 2 and 4, yeah. 2 and 4. It returns in a list. Numbers 2, 4. The value should be model division to equal to 0. If it's even, then store this into a filter it. Filter it and store it into a new list. Even number, okay. Map, well double. Map, doubled, numbers equal to map. Doubled. Doubled is 1 into 2, 2 into 2, 3 into 2, 4 into 2 is doubled. Each of these variable is this map equal to double 2, 4, 6, 8. Numbers list of 1, 2, 3, 4. The map, okay. Now, function type. You can store function in variable. You can store function type. You can store function in a variable. Val operation int a into b a plus b. You can store function in a variable. Yeah, it's already seen here. Taking 2 int and returning int, giving a plus b, taking 2 int and returns int. Higher order function, a function that takes a function as a parameter or returns a function. So calculate a play operation int. Okay, function as an argument, takes function as a parameter. So it's this kind of thing we do mostly in compose. Function as a parameter, takes a function as a parameter. In compose we take anonymous function as a parameter. So let's go higher order function. So let's see, just delete everything here and put this. So fun calculate a b operation a plus b. It is returning an integer and so operation is int is also returning an int. So what we'll do is, let's see, answer is calculate and 6 and 7 and how to call this, man? Operation, let's see, a I don't know how it is called. Let's see. Calculate 2, 3 result. Calculate xy. Okay. Answer. Calculate. We call the calculate a b. So a will be assigned to x, b will be assigned to y, and then it will return a x plus y, which will then give the answer 13. So return operation a plus b. So answer is calculate 6 plus 6 plus 6, a is 6, b is 7, x, y, x plus y, which is 6% to x. So we'll assign to y and then return x plus y. And the function will return an operation f b, and then operation is this one, and the operation is this part. So it will return a x plus y, which is an integer, and it will return an int. An operation is also returning an int. So if we return it a string, then this will give us error. See, returns as expected int, but actually it's a string. So you have to match it. You have to match these two return type. One return time is of higher order function, return type of higher order function, and the actual function. Both return time should match. So now if we run this, we will get the answer 13 in our console. Very common in click listener. This kind of thing is very common in click listener, Kotlin live data flow. Yes, also in Jetpack Compose. Another example, button dot set on click listener. Clicked. Is a higher order function. Text function is argument. That author is a block of lambda. Difference between function versus lambda. Function is a name. Lambda is anonymous, reusable, usually short, declared in the fun, declared with this lambda block. Simple summary. Function is fun parameter return type lambda anonymous function using collection listener coding. What to learn next? Important after this, most important Kotlin topics are scope, function, let, apply, run. Also with this scope, data class, class extension, they are all heavily used in Android. So got this. Now classes and object. Let's quickly touch upon a topic which is classes and object in Kotlin. Kotlin object and parameters. So class and object will work similarly to Java to the cleaner syntax. So class person when name of object is var auto, var age equal var is class person, var name is nothing in the string, var age declared to 0, integer as integer. Creating an object where person dot name is person dot age is 27. Constructor in Kotlin, primary constructor class person where name string where age is where age returning int, creating object where person animation and 27. This automatically creates properties like data and setter and this toString etc. Not toString, but create properties, we can call it. But if we want to create a model class, we have to use data. So very common in Android model. Init block used to run block when object is created. Class person well name string init block is person created the name this init. So whenever we call this, init is automatically called. So member function class person well name string and create equal to hello name. So these are member function. So called person create hello animation secondary constructor person name string name. Less common in Kotlin constructor. This is also secondary constructor you can use. Constructor. Data class very important in that is to model like API responses. Data class user well well age automatically denies to string equals as could copy. Example well user 1 user 2 copy that age used heavily in room database retrofit API model used heavily in room database retrofit API model UI state object keyword. Kotlin has built-in singleton support object constant will base URL API meaning constant dot base URL object keyword singleton no need for static like Java. Companion object static alternative static int count 0 class my class companion object count access my class dot count. These are companion object static alternative like in Java. Like okay, inheritance by default classes are final in Kotlin. So to allow inheritance we have to use open class and open keyword we have to by default to allow inheritance, we have to put open keyword before class and int clock animal. So override function open class animal open fun sound class dog animal override fun. Also, like in class to be inherited, we can also put open. We need to put open before the member function to be inherited, to be inherited or overridden. So visibility modifier public default private only inside classes protected subclass and internal same module. So in the example real world model class data class post title description is a model. Activity class my activity combat activity singleton object section manager. So that's about data class. Data classes we've just seen data classes seen inheritance we've seen visibility modifier we've also seen. So I think I should take a break now. So then we'll go to Kotlin power concept, null safety, extension function, collection, enum cell class. Okay, and then we go to coroutine. So let's end this video here. After this video, we'll go to Kotlin power concept, null safety, and then coroutine. Okay, and then Java interoperability, and then that day will be finished today.